Chosen ones, welcome. This is your moment and it's about to get real. God has always known your worth, even when the world didn't. He conceals you before he makes you known. He silences you before he announces you. He separates you before he elevates you. And now, here you are. The name that once went unnoticed is shaking the very ground America stands on. If you're in a season where it feels like God has placed you on Do Not Disturb, trust this. You are being prepared for something far greater than what you can see right now. The isolation, the quiet moments, the waiting, it's all part of your divine elevation. Don't mistake this silence for stagnation. You're being refined, and when the time is right, your name will echo louder than ever, shaking up everything around you. Congratulations, chosen one. Your time is coming and the world won't know what hit it. Every great narrative has a time of mystery before the breakthrough. Have you ever observed that? The narrative surprise of quiet seems to be God's favorite literary device. Let's discuss the facts. Michael Jordan was kicked from his high school basketball team before he became a superstar. Oprah lost her first TV job before she became a millionaire. Additionally, Jesus spent 40 days in the desert, away from the crowds and alone with God, prior to beginning his mission. Do you see the pattern? Silence is heavenly preparation, not rejection. Let's face it though, quiet may sometimes seem like heaven has abandoned you. All you get when you pray are spiritual crickets. What if I told you that this stillness is the loudest indication that God is about to do something significant in your life? You may be wondering whether God forgot about you, or if the angels placed your prayers on read. Most individuals make mistakes at this point. They rush into something that God has never approved of, panic, or self-promote. Not you, however, because I'm going to show you today why God is keeping you hidden, why this quiet is the most significant chapter in your life, and why, if you accept this season, when He does proclaim your name, everyone will have to listen. You won't ever again be afraid of stillness after this, so stay locked in. First of all, the system is inconvenienced by your quiet, and that's the main point. The world is filled with noise, including views, gossip, news, and social media. People think you're unimportant if you're not talking loudly because everyone else is. However, God does the exact opposite when He is getting you ready for something significant. He drags you back. You are silenced by Him. And the reason that silence makes people uneasy isn't because they care about you, but rather because they can no longer understand you. People start to suspect you when you stop sharing too much. They believe you've changed when you cease engaging in meaningless chatter. The same people who neglected you start to pay attention as you pull away. Why? Due to the fact that quiet is unpleasant. It makes folks wonder what goes on behind the scenes. In actuality, most people want to keep you predictable and don't want you to change. This world system relies on assigning labels to individuals. They can control you if they can define you. However, God removes such titles as He begins to change you. He makes it difficult to read you. Your silence becomes problematic as it indicates that you are no longer on their level. You're not as susceptible to influence now. You're not looking for approval anymore. And it puts people in danger who only feel strong when they are able to define other people. Your silence creates resistance because of this. They will attempt to drag you back into pointless turmoil. They will put you through a test to determine whether you will respond like you used to. Some people may even feel insulted, as if your development is a personal jab at them. The reality is, however, that they felt at ease when you remained the same, since it gave them confidence that they didn't need to change either. They must confront their own lack of advancement, now that you're headed in a different direction. For this reason, before elevating you, God silences you. It's to upend the system that used to control you. Not only for your own tranquility, the quiet is dismantling bonds, changing environments, and getting you ready to become someone they can't ignore. Second, God modifies you during the stillness before releasing you to the public. A book is edited many times before it is put on the shelves. Even if the author has a strong message, it won't have the desired effect if it is published too soon and contains mistakes, weak areas, or underdeveloped concepts. In your stillness, God is accomplishing just that. Before releasing you to the world, He is editing you. You wouldn't survive if God were to raise you now, unadulterated. You would be crushed by the strain, the criticism, and the responsibility. Things you wouldn't even anticipate. It's not that you lack skill, but rather that you're not prepared. When things go difficult, the unedited version of you still behaves rashly, still looks for approval, still harbors resentment, and still has self-doubt. And if you bring those unsolved difficulties into the public eye, they will not remain hidden. Rather, they will be magnified. The exposure increases with the size of the platform. God is taking His time with you because of this. People believe nothing is occurring since they can't observe the editing process. They will inquire as to why you haven't made it yet, why you aren't making any moves, and why you seem so aloof. They fail to realize, however, that the more time God spends working on you in secret, the more influence you will have in public. Desperate for attention, some individuals speed their process, only to have their foundation ripped away. That cannot be your tale because God loves you too much. This quiet is preparation, not punishment. God is purging what would ruin you, fortifying what will keep you going, and honing what will make you unique. He's making sure that when your time comes, you change people, not simply make an impression. There won't be any question that you were picked, prepared for this, and sent with a strong message when He eventually lets you go. Third, you won't make it through elevation if you can't manage solitude. Many individuals believe that fame would make them better. They think that once others know them, everything will work itself out, including validation, love, and respect. However, the reality is that celebrity exposes you rather than heals you. Whatever weakness, anxiety, or insecurity you may be hiding will only become more apparent when you're in the public eye. God separates you for this reason before elevating you. He is ensuring that you can withstand the burden of where He is heading you, not being unkind. Elevation is a lonely place that most people are unaware of. They believe that becoming famous entails having more friends, opportunities, and supporters. In actuality, however, you become more aware of people's underlying motivations the higher you go. While some people will really love you, others will just love what they can have from you. Some people will publicly applaud you while privately feeling jealous of you. And that loneliness at the top will shatter you if you don't learn to feel at ease being by yourself now. In this quiet, God is teaching you how to work without praise, how to have faith in Him when no one is looking, and how to live out your mission without always seeking confirmation. There will be days when people adore you, and days when they turn against you once you become visible. You will be thrown about by every opinion, rumor, and change in public opinion if your confidence is dependent on their approval. Living that way is risky. Being alone is giving you an unwavering conviction in your identity, and calling that celebrity could never give you. You won't break down in public until you understand how to be strong in private. Fake allegiance won't be able to control you after you've mastered isolation. When you reach the top, God is ensuring that you flourish rather than merely endure. Because having the fortitude to persevere, even when you must do it alone, is what really defines success, not having a large group of people around you. Fourth, the exile before the throne is God's silence. Being in exile is never easy. It seems as if you've been rejected and ignored. When it's really a divine tactic, God draws you away before He raises you, not to punish you, but to safeguard the things He is developing inside you. He is aware that you will never develop into the person He has called you to be if you continue to live your life in the same way, with the same people, and with the same attitude. Take a look at Joseph. God promised him a throne, but before it came imprisonment, enslavement, and treachery. Why? Thus the pit served as the division prior to the elevation. Joseph would have been adored if he had remained at his father's home, but he would never have been ready to rule an empire. To be able to function in the future, he needed to be taken away from the familiar. Despite being crowned king as a youngster, David lived like a fugitive for years, escaping and hiding in caverns. He was being trained, not disciplined. David would have continued to think like a shepherd kid if he had assumed the throne right away. However, banishment erased the unprepared version of him. In your stillness, God is accomplishing just that. He's taking you out of situations that won't support you in the future. He is severing connections with those who only see your former self. Because stepping into your calling while surrounded by people who don't acknowledge your progress is the worst thing that could happen. They will restrict you, interrogate you, and imprison you in your former self. Exile is about alignment, not about loss. God is preparing you for something bigger when He leads you into stillness, not bringing you backward. Additionally, you will not only be prepared, but also unstoppable when the time comes for you to assume your throne. Number 5. You haven't yet perfected the art of quiet if you're afraid of being forgotten. Nothing puts your heart to the test like silence. Did they forget about me? Is a persistent worry that arises when the calls stop coming, the invites stop arriving, and the people who previously complimented you go on to the next thing. However, this worry is about you, not them. It reveals whether you are motivated by a sense of purpose or by the need to be noticed. Because they believe that relevance equates to success, many individuals strive for prominence. Concerned that they would be forgotten if they go away, they fight to maintain their prominence by reminding others of their existence all the time. The fact is, however, that your effect was never very significant in the first place if it relies on others remembering you. Being needed is what true elevation is all about, not getting attention. And need isn't something you push, it's something God established. When God is the one raising you, you won't have to battle to be relevant. Opportunities won't have to beg for you. Connections won't need to be pursued. The correct individuals will hear your name at the appropriate moment thanks to Him. He will ensure that doors you have never knocked on open. Because of the power of what you bring, He will make your absence so profound that others will come looking for you, not because you sought attention, but unless you overcome your fear of being forgotten, you will never be able to get there. Until you believe that God is at work, even when there is stillness. Until you quit depending on approval to validate your value. Silence is evidence that God is separating you, not that you are unimportant, and you won't be forgotten by those who really matter. When the time comes, they will be the ones looking for you. 6th, God's witness protection program is silence. God purposefully keeps you silent before revealing yourself, because if you are revealed too soon, you are attacked before you are ready. There are forces at work against your destiny that you may not be aware of, such as jealous individuals and spiritual opponents that are out to stop you before you even begin. The stillness is a sign of heavenly protection, not rejection. Think about it. Every great act of God is concealed before it's revealed. Before Moses could be brought into Pharaoh's home, he was kept in hiding for 3 months. Before his 3-year mission transformed the world, Jesus lived in obscurity for 30 years. The requirement for protection increases with the size of the calling. The one thing that God intended to elevate you might demolish you if He places you in the limelight too soon, before you've developed the fortitude to handle the strain. The discussions that go on behind your back are unknown to you. Envy that has been passed off as friendship is invisible to you. Before you begin, you don't hear the schemes being hatched to undermine you. However, God does. Additionally, He conceals you rather than allowing you to enter a conflict defenseless. He keeps you hidden, unnoticed, and out of the spotlight until your foundation is unbreakable. This explains why certain possibilities don't present themselves as planned. Not all connections occur when you expect them to. Certain platforms don't launch as quickly as you might expect, because you would be entering a combat zone without armor if they did, when you do step out. By the time people see you, they will see more than just you. They will recognize the force of God that made you untouchable, kept you concealed, and fortified you in quiet. Seventh, in a world that only sees, your quiet is teaching you to hear. Our society is fixated on what can be seen. Numbers, likes, follows, and appearances are used by people to gauge success. It must be excellent if it looks good. However, God has a different system. He functions by sound rather than sight. Because of this, trust is acquired via hearing rather than sight. And for that same reason, He silences you before elevating you. Because what you see later will rule you if you don't learn to hear Him now. Take a look at how many individuals fail after they get famous. They climb swiftly, but those who once applauded them rapidly turn against them. They also respond to everything they see since they were never taught to hear. They want praise, then falter when criticized. Instead of acting with conviction, they follow the herd. They were never trained to hear God's voice above all else, so they let other people's views to guide their choices. It is clarity that God is preparing you for, not visibility. He is teaching you how to listen, reducing distractions, and removing you from the cacophony. It could seem like nothing is happening at the moment. No significant chances, no acknowledgement, no progress. However, something more significant is taking place in this quiet. Your spiritual ears are being tuned. In a world that only reacts to yells, you're learning to hear His whisper. This explains why some individuals collapse after being exposed too quickly. Without sight, they never learn to navigate. They are lost the instant that affirmation is taken away, since they only learn to move when it is provided. Not you, however, because you won't be guided by praise or rejection after God is finished with you during the season. It is His voice that will guide you, and it is the kind of person that not only rises but also endures. Number 8. Silence guarantees you're speaking something worth listening, and fame is an amplifier. Celebrity enhances your inherent qualities rather than altering them. It won't offer you knowledge if you don't already have it. It won't help you recover if you're insecure. You won't get deep if you're shallow. Fame just makes the music louder. God thus takes His time, putting individuals in the limelight. He starts by making them sit quietly, because you will have nothing important to say in public if you lack substance in your private life. God is making you go deeper right now. When you eventually hold the microphone, He's making sure that your comments have power, not just thoughts or catchy phrases, but something that changes environments and changes people's lives. Too many individuals want celebrity because they believe it will give them meaning. However, upon there, they discover they have nothing of value to contribute. Desperate to remain relevant, they recycle the same meaningless phrases and turn into echo chambers of what has already been stated. God is making sure that isn't your tale. He is silencing you because of this. He is training you to see beyond appearances, to hear past noise, and to get understanding that can only be gained by spending time with Him. He is strengthening your soul, honing your viewpoint, and broadening your intelligence. Because when you do talk, it will be felt as much as heard. Some individuals climb quickly and fall even quicker because of this. Although they were in the limelight, their statements lacked substance. Nothing changed as they talked. They lacked authority, but they had a stage. However, humans are not elevated by God only to get attention. Those who carry something everlasting are elevated by Him. And your voice will bring revelation, shatter bonds, and rock the very foundations of the world around you when He ultimately places you in the right place. Number 9. God removes the parts of you that can't stand the limelight when there is stillness. Would you live if God granted you all of your current prayers? Not just in a physical sense, but also in a mental, emotional, and spiritual sense. The majority of individuals believe that since they possess the gift, the vision, or the calling, they are prepared for fame. However, character is what keeps you in the limelight, not skill. In actuality, there is a current version of you that would fail. You still behave too hastily, get upset when others don't recognize you, and feel the need to prove yourself to individuals who didn't believe in you. That version continues to clap back at every insult, spend energy attempting to alter people's views, and cling to the desire for approval. You would be destroyed by the strain alone if that version became the center of attention. You would be shaken by the criticism. You would be broken by the treachery. You would be controlled by the fame. And God is making you keep quiet because He loves you too much to allow it to occur. This season is about change, not punishment. The insecure, approval-seeking, easily agitated version of yourself dies in the stillness. God removes the behaviors, attitudes, and feelings that might jeopardize your future there. He's teaching you to quit justifying yourself, to let things go, and to concentrate on the important things. Because the healed you, not the defensive or unbothered you, must emerge when you follow your calling. This is the version of yourself that is too busy, walking in purpose to reply to every critique. This season seems uneasy because of this. The aspects of you that fame would only reveal are being confronted by God. The drive for vengeance, the need to protect oneself, and the need to be loved are all being broken by Him, because you will be more than simply visible when the time comes. You will be unstoppable, and the version of you that takes the stage will not just endure the limelight, but flourish in it. Number 14. You've already lost if you depend on the sounds of the outside world to feel alive. You won't last in the limelight if you can't take stillness. The world deceives individuals into believing that loudness equates to importance, attention, affirmation, and acclaim. What happens, however, after the noise stops? What happens if everyone starts following the next name, fad, or sensation? If you base your feeling of value on the amount of attention you get, you will disintegrate the instant it is taken away. God draws you into quiet initially for this reason. He's showing you how to be whole without a crowd. He's eliminating the need for outside validation so that you won't be shaken by their approval, or lack thereof, when the world ultimately looks on. Too many individuals pursue celebrity without understanding that it is a whimsy. Tomorrow, the same people who applaud you now can turn against you. You've already lost if you depend on their loudness to make you feel alive because you've given them the authority to determine your value. Take a look at the folks that celebrity has harmed. They never learned how to live without attention, not because they lacked skill or put in a lot of effort. Applause was the foundation of their identity, and they vanished along with it. However, you are not being raised by God to be just another name that comes and goes. He is making you durable. This season of stillness is thus essential. It's preparation, not punishment. He's asking you right now, are you happy with me alone? When no one is applauding you, can you still be at peace? When no one is looking, can you still go forward? The quiet won't end just yet if the response is negative, because God will not place you in a world that may shatter you. By the time you enter the public eye, He's ensuring that you'll be safe and not simply noticed. One thing will always be the same, regardless of whether others listen to you or not. Give you praise or criticism, you won't be affected. Silence is shelter, not punishment. It's heavenly preparation, not a delay. You are essentially being shaped for everything that will happen by every minute you spend in obscurity, and every season when nothing seems to be occurring. God is getting you ready for the platform, not only for the platform. because it is harmful to have influence without character. Without wisdom, visibility can be a trap. Furthermore, promotion without a solid basis is a recipe for failure. God removes the version of you that can't handle the limelight during this time of stillness. He refines your motivations, puts your heart to the test, and teaches you lessons that fame can never impart. He's making sure your voice won't be just another sound in a world full of noise when the world eventually hears your name. It is going to be an unavoidable force. The weight of it causes many to collapse as they surge into visibility. But because you put up with the stillness, you won't. You allow God to prepare, discipline, and work on you. And it won't be coerced when He eventually makes you known. It won't be too soon. It won't be brittle either. It will be amazing. Don't hate this season then. Don't allow impatience lead you to give up, frustration lead you to promote yourself, or insecurity lead you to seek attention. What God is establishing in you today will support you later, and you won't only be recognized when the time comes, you'll be prepared. Don't keep this message to yourself if it resonated with you. To ensure that you never miss what's coming next, click the subscribe button and enable alerts. Like this video to let us know you're here. Tell us what struck a chord with you the most in a comment. Above all, make sure someone who needs to hear this hears it. You never know whose life you could affect just by sharing this. Together, let's develop. Together, let's raise. And in God's time, let us move confidently. See you at the next one. May you be blessed.